Hey there, Boots Owen here. I've got this massive Sonnen Macht grid-tied inverter sitting up on the bench. I've got it connected with a bench DC supply, which comes from a little bridge, a little rectifier, is it? A little AC-DC rectifier with a massive heatsink on it, smoothed or discharged through a capacitor, and there's a resistor in there somewhere, I think, as well. I can't quite remember now. Yeah, there's a resistor across DC and a capacitor across the DC. That's detailed in a better video. Power comes into the DC through the variac, so I can vary the DC. It goes through an isolation transformer, which is this enormous 5 kVA box here, and then into the rectifier, and then into the inverter, and the AC side is just supplied there. You can't have, you must isolate one side of it, so I've got it on the DC side isolated for reasons that I never particularly understand. So let's have a look at the stats there. This is a 125 to 480 volt DC machine, just over 4 kilowatts, so it's a 3.6 kilowatt machine, maxing out at 4.1 kilowatts. Really big. Really big, you know, in terms of the size. It's almost 2 foot square and almost a foot deep. Like, it's a big machine. Not particularly heavy. I've got it set up, so I'll just turn on the DC. I think that's down here, and it's plugged in, and I'll crank up the DC now to about 100 and, well, put it up. There it is. Actually, it's lighting up now. Are we going to get a fault, or are we going to crack on? It's got the date. That might be right, actually. And the time's not far. It's out by an hour, I think. I heard something click in there. Yeah, it sounds like there's a relay doing something. T run, so it's done 46,000 hours, 47,000 hours. Oh. Seven-day log. Well, that's not much good to me. Record info. 0020319. I don't know what that means. Oh, I must have turned it on and attempted to do it on the 28th of April. That's a possibility. So it must have had error codes at those various times. There's lots going on the 28th of Feb, which could be... It's getting error 19. I haven't looked into this machine at all. It's getting 19. That might have been when I tried to test it. That would be, what, 2-3 months ago? It could be in my cellar that long. 0020319. They're error codes. I'm guessing. There's nothing happening with it at the moment, other than it can detect the grid. It's not feeling anything off a string. Now I'm putting about 200 volts. You can hear the machine humming a bit there. It's not catching the DC there. Total is about just under 40,000 kilowatt hours, so you know, it's an end of life machine. Config, okay, date and time address, device info, versions and whatnot, and that's it. That's all I can see in there. It says power. It's not giving me a fault, which I find a bit weird. It's saying today, well, that's not what I want now. So actuals for today, string 1, which is what I've got it on. It's telling me 0. It's the voltage I want. It looks more like U. V, current, F, frequency. That's all I can see. All right, so string 2, AC string 2, which, oh, hold on, we're getting it on string 2, so I must have it on string 2. 292, that's a bit high, but it's within the range for the machine, but we're not doing any, no current. Okay, so let's take off this cover then, while it's live perhaps. So just as I turned away from it there to get my torque screwdriver, I heard relays clicking and fault. And let's see. So today it's giving me error 19 again. So Sonnen Macht error 19. I'll have a quick Google. So a very quick Google without even going into a web page told me error 19 is a relay error. I haven't got the right size torque screwdriver for some reason. I must be hiding. I don't know where. Don't know where. So I'm just holding the screwdriver in at a bit of an angle to try and get this cover off. I have it isolated from the DC and the plug's pulled out. I have it plugged out on the AC. Capacitors should take a few seconds to discharge. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. I wonder, did I check this one before? I don't believe I did. Now, I don't know if I want to fix it, because I would like a big DC switch, and it's got one, and I paid scrap for this. A scrap price or a broken price for it. So I paid a very low price for it. For me, and Ian gets these things, and oh, there's a cable on there. God, it smells weird in here. Weird. Right. There must be more screws somewhere for me to get into this. So there's little nuts on the back to be able to see the relays, but it has a beautiful, if you can see that over here, big DC contactor. So let's just put that screw back, and we'll see if I can disconnect this cable. That would probably be the best thing. Right, so that's that off. There's another one here that's glued on down here to data, which I'm not probably ever going to use. So that's the front interface off it. Plug you out. Have a look. Let's get the bench clear, I think. So all the way around the back it has these little nuts. They're coming off quite easily. They're just like a, what would that be, M5 or something? Little nut. I think we're going to have about 8 of them off all the way around. And it should release the front. It says danger, there's a sticker up here saying danger contains live parts during daylight, but of course, if it's disconnected, it shouldn't be live in it. Right, last one, and then I'll lie it back up again. It's kind of unstable where I've got it. Right. Sometimes there's an earth cable on these, not in this case. So that can come out. Relay, 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 relay. I would say relay, 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 relay. It looks like someone has been in here before, because over on the black cables here, so you can see it's got 1 plus, 2 plus. In fact, that looks like my handiwork, but I have no memory of that. I suspect those black boxes are relays. They are relays there by the looks of things, but they are probably not the ones we're interested in. The way to deal with this is to unscrew this board and have a look underneath it. And that involves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just a number of screws. But also you've got these guys here, little fets or something like that, some kind of something that's heat sinked through the back, these little guys with white covers on them. So they're probably mounted to this board. They might not be, oops, although they might not be because of these big heavy cables that are going here. So it might be possible just to lift this board off. So I'll give that a go. So I will have to disconnect everything, and a lot of them are labeled. So this is labeled P4. These are all safety ones, I guess. I'll have to try and pop off. There's a little tab inside. Yeah, I think they all have it. I don't know. So I've taken out all of the bigger screws, and the bottom of the board flips up, but it's getting stuck around here. So there's 8 there and 6 over here of these little FETs, transistors. So I took out that many, I don't know, 6 and 8, 14 little screws. Not it yet. Okay, what else have I got? Something else? Not there yet. Okay, it's got heat paste or something on it. Pulling things up by the components is a pretty mean way of doing business. Right, get the wires out of there. It looks like I've got the board off though. No. Yeah, there's heat paste there that's a bit damaged actually. I'll flip this over in situ, and where was I expecting there to be damage? 4 relays here. But maybe there's nothing to see. What can you see? Nothing. There's heat here. That's the only bit I can see. So I'm taking the camera in the back of a relay there. There is heat. I'll try and flip it back again and see which one that is. It's this leg here on this relay. So I'll get a pen. It's this area here. I'll just mark that off. That might do that. So what can I see about these? Panasonic ALFG 2PF12. Given that the solder is okay, makes more sense to get into the relay. It's a job for a Dremel or just a load of abuse. There we go. That's getting into it. Now, you could say I'm being a bit heavy-handed here. This machine, believe it or not, it's broken. It looks like it has a cap on it, actually. Let's see if we can... Believe it or not, this machine is broken. So there isn't much amount of braking that's going to make it much worse. It's just not working, There's an AC fuse there, 30 amp fuse, just here. If you can see, that can be an issue if the fuse is gone, which I've seen on other inverters in the past. So what am I doing here? I'm trying to get the top off this thing. I'm going to take a look at the contacts inside. Let me do that. There we go. Panasonic. This isn't the kind of one though that you can lift the lid on easily, which is a pain in the troubles. How can I see this? Because if I could just see it, I could pop it back into position. It's more like on this one, the bottom slides off more than the top. If that makes sense. You'd have to desolder it first to get into it. So what can I see in here? Yeah, it's all gone yellow actually. You can see it on the camera better. So that's your contact there. And this fellow should rise up and down. It's got this bit of black plastic on the end of it here. So this guy should rise up and down to make contact. This thing has a bit of plastic on the end, and it's, quite light. And it's joining, I guess, this copper side to this copper side by means of this little... So this guy needs to jump up when the time is right. So I'm bending this up a bit. that, whatever that little bit was. Don't get out of there. Right, well, I'll put the cables back on. I've just bent it a bit, trying to get it closer. Put the cables back on. I'll put the cables back on, and I won't bother with the screws, and we'll just run it open for now. Okay, I've got it all reconnected but not screwed together. This is kind of a foolish enterprise, perhaps. Put it onto this side here. That's my DC connected. Turn on the DC. There's a way to do that, right and wrong. I don't know which one's which. Plug in the AC and bring up the DC voltage. That's coming live. Now, get in here. It took about 3 minutes before. So a red light flashing down there. Oh, heard a relay click from this side. Maybe these red guys. But it's this one here we want to see. Turned on the flash. These relays here seem to be clicking. But it's once this one goes is what we want to see. So I'm conscious that this board is live. You can hear that clicking. It's got 227 volts on it, according to the information. Turn the camera better so I can get in there. Now just watch this relay. I think this is the problem. But it might take 3 minutes to get there. I'm resting my phone on one of the chokes, which is a bit silly, but it's all isolated. So as long as the board doesn't jump up and bite me. Oh, we've already got a fault. I didn't see anything happening there. So I wonder, are these relays, because they seem to be clicking away. Now we've got error 10. I better look that up. So error 10 is earth leakage, which in these things is particularly difficult to identify. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it off on the DC, and that should kill it. I'll turn it off on the AC. I was turning it off under load as well, although it wouldn't have been awake. I'll plug it out in the AC. I'll come back to it in a minute, and I'll disconnect the earth and see if that... Goodbye, earth. Back into outer space. Okay, plug you back in. DC on. Turn up the voltage on the variac. Hear the hum. It's coming live again. Initialize. It's got the grid voltage. We've got 239 volts on the grid, which is pretty much bang on grid voltage. So here are these relays here. Wonder if I can feel them clicking under my finger. Yeah, that was the right finger. Again, this one here, I think. That was this one. So we have no earth. It's saying power. It's getting 226 volts from the inverter. There's a possibility that that relay there was okay the whole time. That relay there was okay, and it was this relay. Now we've got the fault up again. Okay. Okay. Record info. Again, it's error 10, so we're getting earth leakage according to this. I'm going to turn it off because... Turn down the DC first. Turn off the DC because I don't care about this machine. AC, you're off. DC, you're out. Okay. So I'm not going to try and salvage this machine or do anything with it. The best for me to do is scrap this out and take that big DC switch out, because that's what I'd like. I'll chop out all the cables, recycle them. I think it's all made out of aluminium, so I can recycle almost all of it. And move on to the next project. We looked at a relay fault, didn't get one. Then we got a different error, which was an earthing fault. I'm sure somebody knows how to fix earthing faults on these. It isn't me, that person. So if you do, let me know in the comments. Error 17 earthing fault, error 10, no, error 17 relay fault. And we took the board off to have a look, and underneath there was, you know, evidence of overheating on a relay. That was the browner color on the trace on the back of the board. And then in there, I could see that it's bad. But then we got a different error. So I wonder, could we get that error if I've interfered with this? I don't think so, because it should still be a relay fault stuck one way or the other. Right, questions or comments, leave them below. Check out my other videos on inverters, maybe if the answer wasn't here. And have a look at Andy Reynolds' book, Wind and Solar. It's a good read if you're into this kind of stuff. Get you on your way. Thanks for watching. See you later.